Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Womag's Coffee Catch-up session. For all those who are new to Womag, Womag was founded in 2016 and is a volunteer-led organization of professional women and men promoting gender diversity in the food and agri sector. Thank you all for joining us to discuss the most pressing topic of food waste in Singapore. Just few rules: keep yourself muted all the time. You can post your questions in the chat box and we'll be taking them later after the presentation. So we are facing a huge global problem of waste filling up the landfills, and these pits are becoming the house of carbon emissions. Every day, the world produces enough food to feed the whole world population, but still one third of all the population goes hungry because so much of food waste is happening. This food waste amounts to almost 1.3 billion tons, and each year this food that is wasted, it carries enormous social, environmental, and economic costs. Here in Singapore, the challenge is equally pressing, with over 800,000 tons of food waste generated annually. Unfortunately, less than 30% of the food waste is recycled, and the rest of it goes to incineration plants or it fills the Semakau landfill. Food waste is not just what we throw away, it also means the wasted land, water, energy, the precious resources of nature. There is a need to pause and think. Pause and think. Can we do something about this? The good news is yes. Solutions are there within reach through composting, recycling, and innovative circular economy approaches. We can save the Singapore landfill from filling up. How? How is what we are here to know today in this session. I'm Karnika Puri, a nutritionist, food technologist, and a sustainability entrepreneur. I'm founder of NutriWell Hub. NutriWell Hub is a sustainable ecosystems platform that helps communities achieve good health and reverse lifestyle diseases through our sustainable food products and wellness programs. I'm here on behalf of Womag, and today I'm inviting Ms. Tripti Bhadauriya, founder of Rejuvrth, to join us on this to have a discussion on this pressing topic. Rejuvrth began with Tripti's vision to cultivate resilient, sustainable food systems, particularly in the urban environments of Singapore. Her professional journey includes a significant role as the regional manager, monitoring, evaluation, and learning at Croatia. As a co-founder of the Community Garden and the Community Composting Project, Tripti advocates urban climate resilience and nature-based solutions. With her, we learn about the innovative food waste management technologies, policies, regulations, and food management in Singapore. Welcome, Tripti. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Karnika, for having me. And thank you, Womag, for giving us this opportunity to share about our work. And I'm going to borrow the pause from your speech and use it to create a pause here to share a short video on the work of Rejuvrth. And probably we can start the conversation from there.
Yeah.
It starts with a simple act, repeated in kitchens across Singapore every single day. Vegetable and fruit peelings, leftover food, all going to the waste bin. What happens to all the food waste we've been throwing away unsegregated all this while? Every year, Singapore generates close to 800,000 tons of food waste. Due to a lack of segregation, nearly all of this waste, a valuable resource, is burnt in incineration plants. The ash is then sent to Semakau, Singapore's only landfill. By 2035, it's projected to be completely full. We are in drastic need of a solution. The problem goes deeper. When food waste is mixed with other trash, it contaminates recyclables, making the entire system less efficient. It led us to a simple but powerful question. What if we segregated our food waste right at the source, the kitchen? It was this question that brought a team of passionate individuals together to form Rejuvrth. We started with a pilot, the Tanjong Ru Community Composting Project. We trained households to segregate and ferment their food waste using the Bokashi method and set up a system to collect and compost it. A year later, 80 households have since diverted more than 30,000 kilograms of food waste from the incinerator, turning it into compost, a true change brought about by community effort. But we know the problem of food waste is more complex than a single project can solve. How do we create a system where segregating food waste becomes a natural habit for every household? A system where this recycled resource adds to Singapore's food security. We believe we have a solution by bringing communities together to participate, innovators to develop new technologies and processes, and policymakers to create supportive frameworks. We can build a powerful ecosystem. We can shift the paradigm from waste to resource. What do you imagine Singapore's future to be? We imagine a bright, beautiful city with a robust and resilient food system. We imagine soil rejuvenation happening in our own backyards, powered by the food we once threw away. We imagine a future where nothing is wasted and everything is renewed. Rejuvrth, the Urban Green Connect.
So through this video, we wanted to set up the context and we wanted to encapsulate the feeling which led to the beginning of Rejuvrth. So our tagline, the Urban Green Connect, reflects what we think. We feel that we have to understand the source of our food and the source of our waste equally well. And that is going to cultivate a regenerative future. Next slide. So how did Rejuvrth began? Before I jump into it, I would rather like to talk about how individual can make a difference. Uh, it all started during the COVID times when I was handling my household waste on my own. And that's when I reflected on the amount of food waste I'm creating. And there was no way in which I can segregate my food waste and ensure that my recyclables are recycled properly. So all those questions triggered me to look for what exactly I can do as an individual to be able uh, to save the organic waste from going into the bin chute in our apartments in which we live. And that's when I started looking for different composting methods and experimented with a method called bokashi composting. So bokashi is a fermentation based composting method, and I was attracted towards it for two reasons. One is it is very compact and no smell and no pest, which are the two biggest concerns for anyone who is trying to start onto the composting journey. I will talk in details about what bokashi composting is in later on in the slides. But these few experiments in the household gave me a footing of how I can at least divert my own food waste from going into the incinerator. And from there, I found my tribe, and we together we created the vision for Rejuvrth, wherein we started looking on at how from an individual household more of us can come together and create a community project. So we started a community composting project, which also led to a community garden, and staying very closely connected to food in terms of creating a circular model gave us an idea of trying this out on a little bigger scale. That's when Rejuvrth started a pilot study supported by NEA and Gardens by the Bay. And I will talk about that also in a while. But lots of people keep asking me, what is Rejuvrth? So Rejuvrth is rejuvenate the earth, and that's what Rejuvrth stands for. Next slide. That's my team, Tripti, Karnika, Roma, Sugandha, and Udita. Next slide. So Rejuvrth has come a long way from where we started as a grounds up community initiative to what we now think is the need. We know this is a complex problem which cannot be solved in isolation. We need an ecosystem, and to for the building up this ecosystem, we need the innovators, we need the policymakers, we need the grassroots leaders, we need everyone who is working in the food space to come together to brainstorm and to realign our processes to make them more circular. And that is why Rejuvrth's vision has transformed in this last 1 year into a platform which brings all these players together to create an ecosystem. Next slide. So before we go further ahead, let's look at the journey of our food, and where do we lose our food and how is it getting wasted. We know that a lot of wastage is about 1/3 of all the food produced for human consumption is lost or wasted. And this is of particular significance in a country like, can we go back one slide? This is of particular significance in a country like Singapore, which is heavily dependent on importing of food. So right now, Rejuvrth is focusing on the downstream processes, which are equally important, right from the handling of the food, the wastage which happens along the supply chain. So on one side, while we are talking about productivity, increasing the efficiency of our farming systems, on the other side, it is equally important to save the food which is already grown. And that is where we want to why we want to talk about this in the context of the entire supply chain, and not to limit it to just the end consumer throwing away some kgs of food. We have to tackle this food waste at all level with various tech solutions and innovative and maybe very simple solutions which can support us in ensuring that the food which is already grown with a lot of effort, with a lot of money, does not go to waste. Next slide, please. In Singapore, the story becomes that 90% of our food is imported. We are growing around 10% of food in-house. A lot of this food, which a lot of the wastage happens equally in households and other food services, food manufacturing. So Rejuvrth decided to focus on households because we consider that as the basic unit for behavior change, for mindset change, and also this can drive towards further on a large scale waste management models. So that is why we started with a household. And just a peep on the major food waste, rice, noodles, bread. So we have to think about that in the Singapore context as well. Next slide, please. So, what exactly is the problem when we talk about our country, Singapore? One is we are heavily dependent on imports. Second is we are wasting a lot of food with an 18% recycling rate. Our waste streams are getting contaminated with the food waste, and that we are losing our organic waste, and we are also losing our recyclables in the process. And this crisis does not end here. Our only landfill is filling fast, and we have to find a solution really fast. Next slide. So the solution, so Rejuvrth's solution for this is that we have to create a very hyper-local circular economy. What that means is that we bring the communities, innovators, and policymakers together. We make a circular solution for our food waste, and we process our waste very close to where we generate it. So that essentially means, in my condominium, if we are creating food waste, we have the ability to recycle the entire food waste in my condominium. In my HDB, I can do the same. And as far as then in my hawker center, I can create a circular system by recycling the entire food and using it in the town in the HDB blocks for with the compost. So the this decentralization is important to rescue the organic waste which we are letting go because of lack of understanding on how we can segregate, and also the misconception that it is not possible. As Rejuvrth, we have done this pilot study and we know that this is possible. So the Rejuvrth decentralized community composting model emphasizes on training, education, and monitoring of the process, so that first we have to get the we have to clear the myth around composting and other nature-based solutions, so that people are able to adapt to it easily. And then we provide on the site processing systems such as biocomposters, biodigesters, and other aerobins, and other depending on the need, other kind of composting systems. The compost generated will be offtake by the community, offtake by the landscaping companies, and in certain cases the community gardens as well. And we track this entire process. We are ensuring that the homogeneous food waste has been collected and has been completely recycled into compost. And that is why we eye towards the future, wherein this homogeneous food waste is able to generate not only a regenerated soil for Singapore, but also carbon credits which are of higher quality. The recycling rate, we are improving the food waste recycling, and we are also improving the soil. All this to ensure that we are able to grow indigenous crops which are nutrient dense, which are adaptable to this climate, and supporting the government's Singapore 30 by 30 goals and 2050 goals. Next slide. Now I will take a pause here and explain to you what bokashi composting is. Bokashi has its roots from Japan, and it's a fermentation-based composting method. It is done in an airtight bin, and because the bin is airtight, we can't expect any smell to leak out. And this is done with the bokashi brand. So every time you layer the food inside the bokashi bucket, you add a little bran, and then you keep it airtight for 2 weeks once the bucket is filled. What comes after 2 weeks is called a pre-compost. Basically, it is a well fermented food which might smell like kimchi to you or any other fermented food. It's the face does not change, but that fermented smell is there in the bucket. This you bury either in the soil, or you layer it with with browns, which are like dry leaves, sawdust, or just bury it in a pot in a soil. And 2 weeks, and your compost is ready. So one of the biggest advantage of bokashi is that the duration of bokashi composting method is very fast. So you end to end within a month, your bokashi compost is ready. Your compost made from bokashi is ready. However, and also I have seen that from my experiments with bokashi, that it improves the quality of the soil. We have seen the amount of earthworms which are growing, which are increasing in the soil, and also the plants which we grow in such a soil, because of the enzymatic action and which are nutrients available in the soil, it there is a good produce. So these are very significant observations which have come out of our repeated work with bokashi. And of course, we know from Japanese orchards that they use it for bokashi to improve the nutrient quality of their fruits, which we all know how good they are.
Okay.
So that's bokashi composting in a nutshell for you. Look out for me if you need more information on that. So now the pilot study. When we decided to go for the pilot, and NEA Idea Grant supported that study, it is the first systematic study done on household food waste segregation in Singapore. We took two condos with 80 households signed up, and who did composting for a period of 6 months, and diverted 7,500 kg of food waste. This wasn't an easy feat, because just in itself, like we said, that household is a unit of a country. And the challenge was manifold, right from convincing the MCSTs, to getting a composting partner, to getting the logistics guy, and every actor was apprehensive about the whole process, and it did included very significant physical labor as well. But the understanding on the project opened up our mind to a lot of possibilities. For instance, we realized that if the barrier is low, a lot of people are opting for sustainable practices, and they're looking for avenues where they can do it. So the basic thing which you can do is probably start from composting, and you will see those changes in your own lifestyle over a period of time. When with the composting method, you will realize that your food waste is reducing at your home, because now you are aware of the amount of food waste you are generating. So it's really important to like try this out, and you will see the difference, which I have heard from so many participants on the project who are still continuing composting even after the completion of the project 8 months back. So I feel that is the success of this project, that people are continuing dedicatedly, and now it is part of the community, and their households, their children are interested, the families are interested, and we have built an ecosystem. Next slide, please. Yeah, as I mentioned, it was a lot of physical labor. We tried different ways in which the food waste was added to the soils to see regeneration. We also made compost with layering it with browns at Garden by the Bay's nursery. And as you can see in these pictures, we got black gold. And black gold, which is nutritive to the plants, and which is again a mark of the fact that community can come together and solve complex problem in a very simple way. Next slide. So along the way, Rejuvrth has evolved, and we have now become a platform who are engaging with community gardens and communities on one side, and on the other side, we are trying to influence the policy makers on different issues related to decentralized food waste management. These issues primarily are concerned, and right now I'm just speaking from the consumption point of view. The priority is that once we clear the blurriness around the use of composting methods, and there is a lot of resistance coming from a lot of institutions considering that, oh, composting cannot be done in a space. So we are and that is not the case. So we want to bring that awareness to people, that yes, you can compost, there are ways in which you can compost. You have to learn the right technique, and that learning the right technique is the easiest bit, and continuing is a challenge. Once you build your habit, you will be continuing it. So so that is why we are bringing diverse actors onto this platform in terms of designing solutions for customizing the solutions for the need of the community, the organization, and ensuring that it fits into their schedule. If we don't want to design something which does not make sense for a place, our objective is to that the process should not demand extra investment, but it should be streamlined in a way that it becomes part of the system. So we have to re-look and revisit our systems, and ensure that sustainability is part of it. It's seamless, and that is what we are as Rejuvrth aspiring for. uh, if you're looking for a solution, come and speak to us. What is our vision for the future? Our vision for Singapore is that we want an edible garden city. We already are a garden city, and we know how to maintain our greens. But what we want to bring is our soil regeneration and our food security at the core of this, along with our indigenous crops, and ensure that this urban landscape is good enough to feed its people. And also the community comes together and understands that this waste is not actually your waste. We have to rethink our waste as our asset, and use our organic waste to generate more to regenerate our soils, and to generate carbon credits in the process as well, which is a accumulated wealth in itself. So yeah, I will leave you with that thought. And I'll hand you back to Karnika.
Wow, that was quite an insightful. Knowing that, waste is not a waste. And as you said, that waste is a black gold. Actually, I think yes, it is, because it has a capacity to generate nutrition. It has a capacity to generate foods that can make us healthy, and we can have preservative soils to grow them. So, yes, it is time we should, not just mindlessly going on consumption, as well as, we should not mindlessly throw the waste also. When, as highlighted by you, there is so much we can do with it. So, Tripti, now we have, knowing from you, we know that we need to do this, and it is good for the planet. But then, again, when it has to translate into action, can you give us some tips how we can start doing it at our own level without any much interventions? How this is more actionable on our part?
Thanks, Karnika, for that question. I think the action really begins with us. So, I, as an individual, what I can do is the question I should ask first. And thanks for asking that, because I feel the first step is to. So, I will share that I did a waste audit of my own house to understand where, which are the areas in which I am creating waste in my house.
Correct.
What are the activities which are generating waste in my house? I might not be doing waste from the start, but I am bringing in stuff which goes into waste.
Hmm.
So I mean, that connection needs to be established, not as a formal audit maybe, but just paying attention, and just a simple act of segregating your organic waste, which is your kitchen waste,
Hmm.
and majorly, and putting it up in composting is the easiest bit we can do. And trust me, like I myself have lived in various type of residential units in Singapore. It's feasible to do it anywhere. It's simple, and it does not require that much of effort. So I would urge everybody to start composting in some way or the other, and feel free to reach out to us to understand the composting techniques. Happy to share those details as well.
Thank you so much for coming out and letting the community know that you are there when once we make up our mind to start doing it, and things can happen. It's not that we have not been segregating food in Singapore for long, so we cannot do it. It is doable, and it's just that a thought, like you said, that you started with the thought that something has to be done about it. So yeah, this again, we are talking about this. So I will also want some, part of your journey to know that we this changing the mindset of the people, and especially in Singapore, it's very easy. You just throw everything down the chute and it's done. So how difficult was it to telling people that, okay, save your food waste, put it in your home, keep it for us, and then because we need to do something with it, which you have not heard or thought. So how difficult was the starting of the journey to convince people or communities around you?
I would say it's a mixed experience. When we expected not too many people to turn up, surprisingly, a lot of people turned up. And these were the early adopters on the program, because they were looking for an avenue to try out something, and they just didn't know where to start. So these are early adopters really helped us in creating the base. So these are people who are already eco-conscious. However, like you said, lot of training and education modules have gone into our program, wherein we have made multiple training sessions available to people, reached out, marketed the product, marketed it, and we realized that people had a lot of questions. So we
Yeah.
ensured that we answer them. Once the skepticism was over, they were ready to jump in and try the method. So our ask was simple, that it's only a 5 months commitment. Just do this and try it out. And I think the real win is post the pilot, when you see everybody continuing on the
Yeah.
project, right,
Yeah.
right when the pilot was started.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. When you see it happening beyond that frame, when you see that the change is actually happening in the mindset, it's not forced or it's not in a frame, it's coming on its own. That's the real win. That's the real wave of change. That's when we see that happening. So Tripti, you are saying that this will help us Singapore achieve that plan of 6 SG 30 by 30. So I'm curious to know, is this soil that comes out of composting, is it good enough to, uh, for the plants or for the food actually? For the plants, I think it's fine for the gardening, but can we have proper nutritious food out of the soil that is come out of the waste? Is it good enough?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the soil texture and the soil nutrition from the soil certainly improves with composting, and you get since I've been part of a community garden as well, I have seen my own observations of one of the hardest challenge was to actually improve the soil quality, and we have continuously done that by adding pre-compost to the soil and improving the moisture content and the soil aggregates by adding more bulk or the composting bulk in it. So yes, to answer you in a most non-technical way, yes, composting can improve the soil to the extent that we can get better yield from it.
Okay, so yeah, that was great, and we got to know a lot about how we can, save our foods waste and get it converted into the composting, which can also help us to, divert the land food from the landfills. And I think each one of us can do it at our own level. It's not a big thing which needs a very lot of technical support or knowledge. So I think that's a very nice concept that you have brought in forefront, and it all of us should get motivated to save the planet in that way. So yeah, and this is thank you so much for giving that knowledge out to us, and all those who are watching. I would just want to say that thanks for being part of this, and you can join Womag. This is a platform. You can join it through LinkedIn. You can put it in a message across to us. I can just show you the slide for contact us. Roma, can you show the slide, please, for anybody to scan the LinkedIn thing? So yeah, so this is here. You can get in touch with us at the website through womagasia.com, or you can follow us on the LinkedIn. We do keep having a lot of events, and to stay updated, you can just watch out for us. Thank you. Have a great evening. Goodbye. Thank you, Tripti, signing off. Bye.
Thank you, Karnika.